Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing? I promise that I will get you standing while you do some processing throughout my presentation this morning. So I'm very excited to welcome all of you to our district, and I'd like to just share briefly that I started working in this district in 2002. This is the second district I've worked in, and my background includes similar. I started off in college as a math tutor, and I just really enjoyed teaching others. Started as a teacher, moved on into counseling, then became a site and district administrator. So I've been an administrator in this district since 2004. This is my second year in my current position, and I have two beautiful boys. They're ages 10 and 7. And a wonderful husband who's also an educator. And I think I wouldn't be able to be in the position that I am without the love and support of my extended family. I have a sister who's also a teacher, my baby sister, and 2 brothers, and my mom, who has really been a role model for me. My father passed away when he was 41. So she was a widow at 40. I'm the eldest of 4. And so a lot of resiliency and perseverance in my family. And I'm a student who came to this country from Mexico. First language is Spanish, learned English here in school. And I'm just really fortunate to be in a country and in a place that honors diversity for the most part, at least in California, at least in this part of the and so we want to continue that. And so my passion and my drive for equity and excellence for every one of our students is driven by my own personal and professional experiences. And so with that, I'd like to introduce to you our professional learning community journey that we've been in the Salinas Union High School District since 2005. And this is truly a journey. We never truly get to that place where we should be satisfied, because it's about continuously learning and being part of a community that believes that every student can fulfill their highest potential. And so our professional learning communities, there's 4 pillars. You have a vision about where we want to do, what we want to accomplish. We have a mission, we have some shared values and commitments, and then we have our goals. And so in our district, we're actually considering at this time, as we were speaking with Superintendent Mr. Burns about our vision about students learning for life. And maybe it's time to revisit that. We haven't looked at that in a while. And looking at our mission statement, which speaks to really educating our students to the highest standards and preparing them to achieve their life's aspirations, whatever they may be, whether it may be going into the workforce, into a career, going into studying for a particular career in a technical education, or going to a 4-year university. So that is our role and our job, and really to make them global thinkers, and so that they can really act locally then to change themselves and their lives and the lives of the community. And so we recently, just last week, being totally transparent, we went through a process with our administrators. We have many new administrators in our district, many who were teachers or instructional coaches and now are assistant principals or are in different roles. And we went through a process of really developing what are our core values in our district and what do we believe in as administrators. So this is a synthesis. They haven't even seen this because this is how new it is. So you're the first to see this, about what our values are in our district. And what came out of that process was that we all have a belief that our students will learn to the highest levels, and that we want to prepare them, and that they will learn. And the other is that every single one of the leaders in this district has a passion for equity and excellence in all that we do. And finally, a belief in collaborative teamwork that begins with building strong, positive relationships. That's with everyone. It begins with your next door neighbor, your teacher, your student who walks into your classroom, the parents, the custodian, the secretary, the bus drivers. We're all committed to helping students be successful. And so building relationships is critical. I have a 10-year-old, as I shared with you, and he just started 6th grade. And he came home the first day, and so I asked, what did you enjoy about school today? And so he tells me. And I immediately knew which teachers had taken the time to build relationships with him that day. And I was happy that 4 out of the 6 did, but I was waiting. So it's day 5. I'm still waiting for one more teacher to try and build connections. Because he came home with, my math teacher is the greatest. Why? It was so much fun. We played bingo, to learn about each other. We talked about what we like to do. We talked about our hobbies. She told us about herself. And every day, my math teacher is just amazing, right? Just really connected with the students. And so that's just important to remember as you begin your first day of school with your students about the importance of building those strong relationships and showing that you care about them. Because after that, they will do anything for you, right? So our goals, district-wide goals, these are the Board of Trustee goals as well as our goals in our Local Control Accountability Plan. And you will also see these goals in the Single Plans for Student Achievement. All of our goals are aligned. Why did you select us to begin or continue your professional career? Do our vision, mission, and values resonate with you? And how will you demonstrate your commitment to our students? And so there is a basic underlying assumption, right? What is that assumption?
You'll get along.
That you'll get along, yes. Build those relationships, right? Continuously learning yourself as well as your students from each other. Very nicely said. So this is our PLC cycle. And as you can see, we're, like someone mentioned earlier, this is a student-centered organization. And within your PLCs, you mentioned also how it needs to be data-driven, looking at student work and analysis. It's not from your gut, like, well, I think all my students, mastered the standard, right? There needs to be evidence that you're continuously looking at, you're analyzing it, you're sharing best practices, and then you're looking at ways to provide interventions for your students or extensions for your students depending on where they are. So it is a continuous learning cycle. It's an action research model that we're continuously looking to improve. And the characteristics of a PLC are, as a district, it's really important that we also have shared values, a mission, and we have goals. And that's why we're strategically aligning all of our goals so that we're ensuring that we're all driving in the same direction. And we may do it differently at the different sites based on the culture, based on the needs of your students. You may do things differently in your PLC team, and that's okay, so long as we get to the end results that our students are going to what? What's our end result? That they're learning and being successful in order to what? Global citizens, college, career ready. Okay, I'm checking for understanding here. So, right, and to the highest level, that we have rigorous standards and that we offer the support that they need. So we need to be results oriented. So I'm going to give you some of our big ideas, okay? Focus on learning, having a collaborative culture, and focus on results. Those are our big ideas, trying to make it simple. So one thing that is really important is that as teachers, we have a learning objective, we have a learning outcome, and we know what it is because we sit down, we write the lesson plan, but how are we making that transparent to our students? And how are we making it transparent multiple times throughout the lesson? Not just at the beginning of the lesson when we start it, and not just at the end when we're doing the assessment, but throughout the lesson as we are checking for understanding. We're constantly having to ensure that our students know what is the purpose of the activity that they're doing, why. It's really important to get through because we know as educators and as teachers why we're doing it, but we need to make that transparent to them. And so I'd like for us to do another pair share. So you're going to stand, select a different partner this time. And I want you to look at these questions. How do you ensure or plan to ensure that every student knows the expected learning outcome will be what it will be on a daily basis, as well as how will you monitor their learning? So yes, the next big idea is that we want to have a collaborative culture. And and sometimes one thing that I learned as I went from being a teacher to a counselor to a site administrator is that sometimes it's more difficult for adults to learn how to collaborate than it is for our students in the classroom. And so we really want to foster adults in our buildings collaborating with one another. Our district has invested a lot of money and resources for ensuring that we have PLC time during the day. So every middle school and Everett Alvarez High School collaborates every Wednesday morning, and the other high schools, comprehensive high schools, collaborate almost every Wednesday morning. Our alternative education sites and Salinas Adult School collaborate within their schedules because they have different schedules. So we have put time within your workday to give you the opportunity to collaborate with one another. And that is very, very important. And I think it speaks volumes to how much we believe in this process. However, it's only going to work if we're all open and flexible to both learning from others and sharing. We need to do both, right? And that really the focus is about our students and improving instruction for our students every day, and that we're doing the best that we can because we're, like we said earlier, this is continuous improvement, right? And so it's not about hurt feelings or egos or anything getting in the way. It's really about, let's talk about our students and how are they doing and what do we need to do to either provide interventions for them, or if they're ahead and they've already learned it, how do we provide those extensions for them? So that's really what we're after. Our PLC essential questions, which Mr. Burns alluded to earlier in his presentation, these are basically the 4 PLC essential questions. What do we expect our students to learn, right? So what's the learning outcome? What are the standards? And how will we know, right? So we spoke about continuously monitoring their learning. How will we respond if they don't learn? What are those interventions that are going to be in place? And then how will we respond when they already know it? So what are those extensions that we're going to provide? So these are the 4 PLC essential questions that when you are in your PLC team, this is how it becomes student-centered. So PLC time is not about talking about your department. It's not talking about any other operational pieces. The focus is on instruction. And every PLC team has a course lead or a course facilitator. This individual volunteered or was volunteered. They do get a stipend to facilitate your Wednesday morning collaboratives. We also have a district website for our PLCs that you can reference in our webpage for under the staff portal. There's a link for every school site and every department so that you can go in there, you upload your agendas, your minutes, your formative assessments. Last year was our first year, and we only opened it up to school teachers in that building. However, eventually our goal is that we will truly be a PLC district-wide so that we can share all of this information across the district. And so I would encourage you to go into the website and look at what your PLC teams did last year so that you're familiar with it. Some schools used it more than others, some departments used it more than others, and so we're trying to build this culture that we're really going to share everything electronically so it's more accessible, and we're sharing best practices and tools as well. So the last big idea is the focus on results. And how do we measure our efforts in relation to our mission? So we have to be able to assess whether or not the results that we're getting are what we want, right, for our students. And so we must seek the data that you brought up earlier. We must analyze it to ensure that we are doing that. So we are continuously district-wide, as well as by school site and by PLC team, looking at our data. So with that, I would like to do our third and last pair share. So this time I'm gonna challenge you to break out of your school team and maybe meet someone from another school. And what ideas do you have to build a strong PLC team with shared values? And what questions might you have for your course lead or your course facilitator at your school site? And just to close, I'd like to just share that my message to you is to be kind, to be humble, and to have fun. And really have a great year. Thank you so much, and welcome to our district.